I'm Chris Gardner of the Houston Round Ball Review, speaking with Rice Owls women's basketball head coach Lindsay Edmonds. Coach, thank you as always for taking time to talk to me. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking the time out to chat with me. It's always good to catch up.
The team announced an addition last week, a transfer. Just share some info on her.
Yeah, we're really excited about Sussy. Sussy's coming from Samford University down in Alabama, originally from Georgia. Georgia's been really good to us in recruiting. And we had some connections from Malia knowing her as well. So that kind of got us in a little bit with her. Just really excited about her size and her ability to put the ball in the basket. At 6'3", she averaged I think like 11 and 5 at Samford, and made all freshman team as a freshman, made all conference as a sophomore. So just really excited about the depth and the size that she can add to our center position. Not only is she a great basketball player, but she's an unbelievable young lady. Great student, pre-med track, so definitely wants to go that route as well. And so Rice was really just the perfect fit for her, and she was a perfect fit for us.
How many years of eligibility will she have at Rice?
She'll have 2.
Okay.
She'll have 2, so that's exciting. I know there's a lot of one-year transfers out there, but those are always hard. It's hard to get them acclimated to not only the school but the program. To their teammates, and to be able to find a rhythm within 1 year is sometimes hard. So really excited that Sussy has 2 years of eligibility.
And who are other players you're bringing in to this incoming class?
We have one more transfer that has not been able to be officially announced, waiting on the paperwork of that to be done. So really excited about what she'll bring to the team. We also signed 2 freshmen, one out of San Antonio, Layla Conley, just a really dynamic combo guard, ability to get downhill, but also shoot the 3. So excited about her. And then we also have Pace Rickard. She's bounced around quite a bit as far as where she lives because of her dad's job, but spent some time in Austin, spent some time in Michigan. Her grandfather actually went to Rice and played football here. Her grandmother went here as well. So a little bit of a legacy there, which I think is really cool. But she's got great handles. She's a good shooter. So we're really excited about the pieces that we're bringing in with them as well.
How has recruiting changed for you in just your short time at Rice?
Yeah, I think, again, when I took the job, I was like, okay, Conference USA. And now we are going to the American, and it's really exciting, but it's a bigger and better and stronger conference. And so we need to make sure that we're getting a next level type of player that can help us compete in that competitive conference. South Florida has, been pretty dominant in it, especially after UConn left. So they set the bar really high. And so us to be able to compete with them, we got to make sure we're getting the right pieces in order to be able to do that. So I think we can go after a different caliber kid now. American being that Power 6, as they like to refer themselves to. They're that next best conference. That we're going to be able to be on linear TV every game, which is amazing for us. So that's another selling feature that we can give to our players and to our recruits, but also the fact that it can be a multi-bid league is really, really exciting, and people want to play in the NCAA tournament. And so I think those selling features are allowing us to be in conversations with kids that, maybe when I first got here, we couldn't be. So I'm really excited about what American brings to us recruiting wise.
How quickly did you shift in your recruiting pitch to kids from Conference USA to the American?
As soon as Joe told me it was a possibility, I was like, let me start talking about this. Hey, this might be working. This might be happening. This might be happening this year. It might be happening next year, because some of that was obviously with not knowing when Houston and Central Florida and Cincy were going to be into the conference, into Big 12. So we weren't sure of that. But as soon as he mentioned it to me, I was like, we got to start selling it. We got to start selling it to recruits. And hope that it happens sooner rather than later, since we're talking about it now.
As far as you know, is there any plan of, promotion celebration on July 1st of Rice joining the American?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't know if there's anything in particular happening on July 1st. I think that's a great idea. Maybe I need to pitch it to administration. So I'm not sure. There's a lot of excitement around campus. We've been doing some coaches caravans over the last couple of weeks. I was in DC. A group went to Dallas. I went to Austin last night. There's a couple more coming up in Katy and in the Woodlands. And so there's a lot of buzz. There's a lot of excitement. Last night in Austin was tremendous. There were so many alumni there, and it was a great night to talk about the excitement of us moving into American. So I can imagine there's something in the works, but I haven't been informed of it yet. But it definitely should be.
Overall, in addition to South Florida, who other teams in the American to watch out for Rice to compete against?
Yeah, I think it's just a great league. I think what a lot of us we're really excited about competing against the SMUs, the Tulanes, the Tulsas. There's a familiarity there. Our student athletes probably know people that are at those universities, or our regular student body population probably knows students that are at those universities. And I think that is really exciting. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, I think the teams that are going in from Conference USA are really, really great teams. I mean, they're competitive. And obviously with Charlotte winning conference championship, not this season, but the season before, they're a great program. I think Karen has UTSA rolling, and she's gotten some studs out of the portal as well. And so they're going to, I think, come in and be able to compete right away. I think we're going to be able to come in and compete. Memphis is definitely going through a coaching change, but I mean, they had a tremendous year this year as well. And East Carolina, I mean, goodness, to be picked at the bottom of the conference and then be in the championship game and then win the championship game to be able to get into the NCAA tournament. I've known Kim for a really, really long time. And so I think the world of her. And so I know she does a heck of a job. So again, we're coming in and not knowing a lot about any of the opponents other than like watching them from afar. And so I think, it's going to be a great competition every single night, no matter who we're playing against. There's going to be a big challenge, and we're going to have to be ready to step up to it and play the best basketball we can and hope that we can compete to fall where we want to fall in the conference.
And how will the move to the American impact your non-conference schedule?
Yeah, so I mean, we challenged ourselves this past season, and we're doing it again this year. I mean, we're going to be at TCU, we're going to be at Houston, we're going to be at Stephen F. Austin, we're going to Abilene Christian. We have Georgia Tech coming to our place, and so I mean, we've put some heavy hitters on there. We want to prime ourselves to potentially be an at-large team if we can. So. We don't have a lot of quad 4 games. We only have a couple of quad 3s because of some of them are on the road. They fall into quad 1. So we have quad 1s, quad 2s, a couple of quad 3s, I think maybe 1 or 2 quad 4s. So again, it's going to be a challenging schedule for us. But I think it's going to help prime us to be ready for the American.
With more of the emphasis on the net, how has that impacted when you schedule for non-conference? Do you have like a philosophy? Okay, we need X amount of quad 1, X amount of et cetera?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, American has a breakdown for us to go by. And so if we are expected to be in like the, top half, they want you scheduling this way with so many quad 1s, so many quad 2s, so many quad 3s, less than this amount of quad 4s. If you are, somewhere in the middle of the pack, then it's a different scenario. And if you feel like you're in like a rebuilding season, then they expect you to follow like this guideline, certain guidelines. So we primed ourselves. We're to be pretty much in that middle of the pack. We didn't do the rebuilding model. So we put ourselves again. We put ourselves in that schedule to be in the middle of the pack as far as the scheduling of non-conference goes. Our aspirations are to finish higher than middle of the pack, but we weren't sure that we were ready for as many quad 1s as the top tier of the American schedule format was. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the opportunities to play at a really high level against some great competition. both on the road and at home.
In terms of recruiting, are you and the staff, is it difficult to balance between transfers and still high school seniors and not having too many of one or the other?
Yeah, I think we really want to still recruit high school really hard. I think we had a lot of success this season by having 6 freshmen, and they're only going to be better next year. And so I think building up your program, building up your culture with, freshmen being what you primarily focus on. We're sprinkling in a transfer here and there. We've been really fortunate. I mean, other than when I first took over, no one's went into the portal. And so we haven't lost student athletes. And I think a lot of that is because the Rice degree means a lot to these young ladies and their parents. And so they come here for basketball at a high level, but they come here for high level academics as well. And they don't want to typically walk away from that. I also think we're building a really great culture, and that makes people want to stick around and be here and be a part of it. So I think we'll always recruit really heavy in high school seniors and hope to always sign, 2 to 4, depending upon what our needs are for that year, and maybe sprinkle in a transfer or 2. But, I see some programs around the country that are already signed 6 or 7 out of the portal. And more power to them. That's what works for them. But I'm just not sure that it would work for us. There's a lot of kind of rules around, what we can get out of the transfer portal that makes our pool a lot smaller as far as what Rice will accept in. Graduates need to have multiple years to be able to finish degrees because we don't have a lot of one-year programs. And so having graduates with 2 years is easier right now while there's COVID year kids out there. But that's going to be ending pretty soon too. So I think, again, we just need to continue to build it up and build our players up and our team up with freshmen.
Look back on this season. How would you assess the season overall? What did you learn? What did you like, didn't like?
Yeah, you know what? If you would have told me before the season started we were going to be 23-9, I would have said, sign me up. Sign me up. And we had a tremendous year. It was wonderful. 9-0 start, first time in program history that's been done, with the win at Texas A&M, the win against TCU, the double overtime thriller against Houston, where Destiny Jackson scores 33 points, the most in program history since 2010. It was phenomenal. And then we got into conference, and we were still a really young team. And I don't think a lot of people want to say that because we had some seniors on the roster, but a lot of those seniors, my first year was the first time they had played valuable minutes, that they had played in those tight games. And so I think when we didn't face adversity in the non-conference, we faced adversity in conference, and we were like, oh, what do we do now? We lost. How do we recover? And so we hit a little bit of a skid that I would have loved for us not to hit. But we regrouped and we figured it out, and we got ourselves back rolling again. We finished 3rd in the conference with, a half a game back from being able to finish 2nd in the conference. And so to go to the postseason tournament in the WNIT and to get a win on the road against a very, very good BYU team. We had a tough road. You go on the road at BYU, that was tough. But then you go to Oregon, that was really, really hard matchup. So, I just, really, really proud of where we are in just our second year. But, the coach in me is always like, man, we could have been 27-5 or, something. So we could have won a lot more games. And so that's where I want us to grow. I want us to continue to get better. That's the competitive edge that I have. I love to win. I hate to lose. But the players do as well, and they know we let a few slip away that we could have probably won. And so I think that makes us hungry for this season to kind of bounce back and see what damage we can do in this new conference.
What areas of improvement have you already had your one-on-ones for your returning players and say, okay, this is what we'd like you to work on for this summer?
Yeah, for sure. We've had end of the year meetings. All of them went really well. I think a lot of us are on the same page of between myself, their position coach, and those players on these are the things you do really well. These are the things you need to grow in. And so we did evaluations on them, but we had our players, write up goals for themselves for the summer and for next season and the things that they want to work on. And we were all on the same page in most of those categories. And so we wanted just to continue to get better at our ability to consistently shoot the ball. We want to get better at playing fast. We can always get better at that. Again, I just think there's some defensive things that we can work on as well, and how we want to mix things up a little bit more going into the American with defense. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about having the team back on June 12th. Right now, we all need a little bit of a break, and so everybody is going to enjoy probably about 6 weeks of downtime. But then June 12th, everybody gets here, and it's time to get rocking and rolling for next season.
Where have you and the staff gone so far or are going for recruiting this month?
Yeah, so last weekend I was in Dallas all weekend, and then Coach Keevy was at Under Armour in Pennsylvania. Nick and Danny were both in Hampton, Virginia at Boo Williams. So that's where we were last weekend. We have another recruiting weekend coming up in May. We'll be covering College Station because Adidas is going to be there. We'll be covering Dallas. There's Clash of the Clubs, which is always a big tournament. Nike's making it hard on us. They're spreading out to like 4 or 5 different sites. So got to figure out what we're going to cover. Dallas being one. So we'll definitely be there for Dallas. But then there's Birmingham. There's 4. There's Birmingham, Iowa, and Phoenix. So we probably can't cover all of those. Got to figure out which couple of those we can cover. But so we'll be bouncing around and making sure that we're seeing 24 recruiting is going really, really well. We have a couple of official visits coming in, and we really, really like where we're sitting with a couple of 24s. And so that class could be wrapped up pretty soon, which is exciting. And then we can move forward to looking at 2025s.
What are your thoughts on NIL and its impact in women's college basketball?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it. And while some people may not like it, and some people may love it, it's the nature of what's going on, and it's what's happening. You have to adapt. You have to adapt to the times. You have to figure out ways to make yourself either like it or make yourself figure out how to at least sell it, right? So, we've not been asked a ton of questions about NIL. Some of our young ladies are definitely doing some stuff through their Open Doors accounts. Different things here and there. And so I think those are wonderful opportunities. The collective just started for football. And so hopefully we can start to figure out how that can trickle down to other sports as well. So again, we're growing, we're evolving, we're trying to figure it out as we go, but it hasn't came up too much again in our side of it and where we're at Rice. I know it happens all over the country. And there's people that are in the transfer portals to see how much more money they can get at other NILs or whatever. But it hasn't been a primary focus of any of the current ladies we have on our roster or the recruits that we are currently recruiting.
One last thing. You mentioned the Coaches Caravan. Any more of those for foreseeable future?
Yeah, the group is going to Katy and Woodlands in a couple of weeks, which actually falls on our recruiting shutdown. So my family and I are going to be on vacation because the shutdown is a great time for me to get away and not feel bad if I'm not on my phone. And so the family and I are going to take a vacation the second week of May. But I'm sure a lot of the other coaches will be at Katy and in the Woodlands during that time frame. So those are definitely close by.
Okay. Coach Edmonds, Lindsay Edmonds, Rice Owls women's basketball coach. Thank you once again for taking time to talk to me. And I'm sure we'll speak in the next few weeks of the summer before the season starts.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you Coach, so much for having me.
One last thing, of course. Yep. If you hear about or Rice does decide to do something around July 1st on the American, please let me know.
I'll definitely let you know. That'd be awesome. I hope we can get something going. I'm gonna go talk to administration about that right now.
All right, great.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Have a great day. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.